What's up, everybody? This is Steve Sterlacci, and today we are talking about my most prized possession, my favorite guitar of all time, my Les Paul Custom Limited Edition 1979. And if you've seen any videos on my channel, you've probably seen this guitar before, but I wanted to make a video about the story behind the guitar, what it is, how I got it, why I got it, and what makes it so unique. So let's take a quick time travel back to like the year after I got out of college. I had seen this guitar on Instagram, and there was a store posting it for sale that it was going to be available soon. It wasn't even like up for sale. It was like before it was allowed to be sold. So I literally emailed them once I saw the picture, and I was like, something about this look was just pleasing to me. When I was first, playing and really getting into Les Pauls and stuff, my two favorite players were Slash and Randy Rhoads. Just, back then those were my heroes, and that's what I was listening to most. And I was like, I would love a flame top like Slash, and I would love a Les Paul Custom like Randy Rhoads. And when I saw this, I was like, this is the perfect middle ground between the two. The split logo inlays, the split diamond headstock, all of it just had everything I wanted in a guitar. It was unique, which was the most important thing to me. A lot of times with Les Pauls, a lot of them look the same, and they're just Les Pauls. This is just something completely special and on another level, in my opinion. I also want to thank my friend Keith over at 5 Watt World for the inspiration to make this video. He featured this guitar and myself in his short story about the Les Paul Custom. So if you want to hear it in a track and see some other cool video and footage of Les Paul Customs, head over to 5 Watt World and check out this video. I'll put a link to it in the description. Thanks, Keith. What makes it so special? Well, like I said, we have split diamond, split parallelogram inlays, as you can see here, and they stop at the 15th fret on this ebony fretboard. A great neck. It's like a medium 60s style, between 50s and 60s, not quite super slim, but not bad. The top is all flame maple over mahogany, and the interesting thing is that the back is also flame maple, and not only is the back flame maple, the back of the neck is flame maple, back of the headstock is flame maple. Everything on this guitar is flame maple. How many times have I said flame maple so far? So it's a unique guitar, something that was very special and a very limited run, and I had no idea what this guitar even was until about 4 or 5 years after owning it. So when I got it, it was fresh out of college. I had no money to my name. I literally spent every dollar I had on this guitar. I borrowed from my parents. I literally beg, borrow, steal. I didn't steal anything to get this guitar. And for 5 years, I just thought it was a one-off custom, just something super unique that nobody else has. Until one day somebody commented on my Instagram that it looks like the same guitar Neil Sean used in the Any Way You Want It music video, which if you look, indeed, it is the exact same run of this guitar, except he put white plastics on his. And there's one scene in particular where he lifts it up, and you could see that his switch cover here is still black, but he switched out all the fronts to cream plastics or white, whatever it is. But it's the same run of the same guitar, the only other one I've ever seen. So that gave me kind of like, there's something for me to at least search for. Apparently, it was a very big hit in Japan, and a lot of Japanese players and collectors wanted this guitar, and Gibson actually reissued it in 1984, calling it the Les Paul Super Custom, which looks exactly like this on the front. It does not have the flame maple back, sides, and back of the neck. So it's kind of like a scaled down version of this actual original. There are pages like Trogley's Guitar Show that had one similar to this. It's not exact, Definitely not this same color. He's also, I think, had one of the reissue ones. He's a good resource for other information on the Super Custom, but the Super Custom is actually like the reissue of this guitar, which again was made in 1979. Now, when I got it, again, I bought it sight unseen off of Instagram. Guitar shop thought it was a one-off custom. Boom. Paid, no problem. Found a way to get it. The reason I was able to get it so cheap when I got it for much less than its appraised value, I basically got this for half the price of a used custom today, which was not a lot of money relative to what it's really worth. So when I first got it, it had a stop bar tailpiece and it has a tremolo route. So at one point in the guitar's existence, there was a route for a tremolo. There's a big hunk of wood missing underneath this TP6 tailpiece. I get a lot of questions on this TP6. The TP6 is something Gibson used in the late 70s. It's on the BB King Lucille models. These are supposed to be micro tuners. It's kind of all BS, and I mean, I guess it does work if you choose to use it. I don't think anybody ever actually uses it. I like it because, first of all, it's what would have come stock on the guitar, and B, it covers up the route. So when I had the regular tailpiece on here, you could see the route more, but with the TP6, it actually covers it up. Also, it had a refret. Before I had it, I also got it refretted. I got it refretted again just to get it to where I wanted it. It had different pickups. I think it had Stumac pickups in it, so somebody had ripped the old ones out. And you could see at the top of the headstock, there's two holes where I guess the locking nut was placed. But these have been expertly repaired prior to my ownership. I mean, you really would never be able to tell that there was any routing or any work done to this guitar if I hadn't told you, if I hadn't pointed it out. That being said, it also had a bone nut when I got it and a plastic truss rod cover. I've since replaced it with brass, and just to get it looking like it would when it came from the factory. Now, how do I know what it looks like from the factory? Well, a few years ago now, I've had this guitar almost 10 years now, somebody sends me a G-Bass ad. And they're like, hey, this is your guitar. It's the same one. So now this is the third one that I've ever seen. And this ad blew me away. Completely kind of rocked my world. This guy had this one for sale in Nova Scotia. Look at the price that he was asking for this guitar. I mean, I did not pay anything near that. I don't have that kind of money. But basically, I got this guitar for a steal. And I actually spoke with the gentleman who was selling that one. He had bought it new in 1979 from Gibson. He's a guitar dealer. And he told me a whole story about how Gibson was retiring one of their builders. His guy's name was Dick Schneider. And they basically flew him to Austria, where they bought up a bunch of violin makers' maple. I guess the violin maker had passed away, and Gibson and this builder went there, bought up all of their violin flame maple, brought it back to the States, and he was given a retirement gift of this guitar. So this was his retiring gift, this run of guitars. And according to the article that the guy, according to the G-Bass ad, says there was 24 made, and really he's the only resource I have that knows anything about it. I have asked Gibson, and I guess somewhere between the ownership changes and the factory changes, the real information has been lost. So really all I have is this guy's word to go on. If anybody happens to have any type of literature from 79 where they were selling these, please shoot me an email and let me see what you got. I'd love to learn more about this guitar, as you know, I'm going to keep it forever. I'm never getting rid of this guitar. He put it up for $30,000. It's no longer up for sale. I don't know if somebody bought it or if he pulled the listing or what, but it's an expensive guitar. Mine has been played, beat to hell, been on tour, and it's a player guitar. I don't care anything about value. This is my main Les Paul on stage, and it always will be. I just love this guitar, and it'll always be with me on stage. So another cool thing, it's also the only Les Paul I've ever seen, or really for that matter, the only guitar I've seen. The flame maple sides here on the side of the guitar between the double binding, you have all flame maple here, and then here at the horn, and I had thought that this was a repair, and I think even the shop I bought it from thought it was a repair because they had blacklighted it and they said there was nothing wrong. There's this chunk of what looks like mahogany, this little triangle here, and I think this was because they couldn't bend the maple over the horn. So when I guess they were steaming and molding the maple for the sides, you know, getting it to be the right contour and the right shape, they couldn't bend it over this sharp horn. So they just said, okay, well, let's put a stopper here. So they went up to this point and they went up to this point and they just put a stopper in there. So that's another unique thing, definitely a telltale sign of one of the originals. I believe the Super Custom reissues in 1984 did not have that. Also, another cool thing on the back of the neck here, there's two strips of what could be ebony, it could be carbon fiber, I don't know, but it's a really interesting design in that it runs all the way from the body all the way up to the top of the headstock. And I've exposed some of the finish just from playing it over the years. Again, it's my main playing Les Paul. And I can't tell if it's ebony or if it's carbon fiber, and I'm pretty sure it is carbon fiber. It doesn't look like it has any grain to it. It does have lines, so it could be carbon fiber, but it's interesting that this dual strip of carbon fiber going right through the flame maple on the back of the neck is a really, really cool look. And if anything, I guess it makes the headstock and the neck stronger. As you see, it's got the volute classic Norlin era thing. And one more modification that I've made on it is that I put in a Faber ABR1. I have Porter Anthem PAF pickups in here, and I've put in some premium wiring. I ripped out the Norlin era wiring. Not a fan of the Norlin era wiring, but I love the stuff that I've got. I think it's WD. And that pretty much tells the entire story of the guitar. That is my limited edition Les Paul Custom, technically called the limited edition 1979. Let me know if you guys have any questions about this. Any links to gear that I used in this video will be below in the description. And if you made it this far, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.